So the race to level 100 softcore is over, and we actually have a couple people reaching level 100 within the first 3 days of early access, which is absolutely amazing. And these players are absolute beasts. The first player to reach level 100, at least that we can track, was Rob2628 on the Barbarian. And I want to talk a little bit about the strategies because I've been kind of watching all the people climbing up while I've been playing. And let's be honest, guys, a lot of us have been absolutely grinding out the game, pretty similar to the amounts of time that some of these people have spent. But their strategies and their grouping up consistently is absolutely blasting ahead of everyone, and it is super impressive to watch, which is really, really fun. So I'll leave a link to this down below if you guys want to track, because the race to level 100 hardcore is still going on, but the softcore race is officially over. And I think, as I mentioned, it's no surprise that Rob, the absolute beast of a player here, getting level 100 in the review build, blasting the game, ended up just going all in and grinding out the game and reaching level 100 before anyone else that at least we know of involved in the race to world first. There could be someone, not on this leaderboard that doesn't really want to be in the public eye that could have gotten a 100, and potentially we'll see that later on. But as far as anyone that we can tell, Rob was the first one to do it. And to be honest, it'd be tough to beat him because this guy just destroyed. Now, there's only 4 people at level 100 that we know of so far, and a couple of people were already in Rob's party. They basically went ahead and dove into group play the entire time as far as I've seen, and really they kind of did 2 main methods of leveling. The first method, which was PvP zones. So they really abused the Kyrgyzstan Fields of Hatred, and mainly the Kyrgyzstan Fields of Hatred because it's got a little bit higher mob and elite density compared to the Dry Steppes Field of Hatred. However, both are very good, and I swapped between the two. And because they were the first, or some of the first people to World Tier 4, I was able to enter it a little bit sooner as well. Pretty much anyone that was grinding, 20, 30 hours straight was able to enter these zones, and there's almost no one ever there, which made it super nice to kind of dive in and get amazing XP. Second method was actually the Champion's Demise dungeon, which was an absolutely amazing way to gain some additional XP, and that's going to be right here on the map. So this dungeon essentially has 3 different pathways in the dungeon, and this is actually a dungeon that, if you watch Echo Hack's video in the review build that we had actually ran together, and it was kind of on our radar to run quite frequently, but after seeing Rob run the dungeon, it was an absolute beasting of XP per hour, where you're just running through, each person gets a separate path, and you really honestly just get potentially twice as much XP as you could have gotten from the PvP Fields of Hatred. Now keep in mind, the patch notes and the nerfs did hit the Barbarian twice during this process. If you guys have seen my previous video talking about the patch notes, they nerfed essentially every class, but arguably the Barbarian got hit the hardest, although they were the highest on, I guess you could say, the power scale. So despite the fact that they were the strongest, now they are the one of the classes that got nerfed the hardest. But the Whirlwind build still performs extremely well, and used it pretty much all the way past that early leveling process, and you guys can check out all of that content down below. I've been tracking some of the builds that everyone's been using, which has been really amazing as well. After the Champion's Demise, later on, they did do some Nightmare dungeons, pre-nerfs to the Whirlwind Barb. Because of the nerfs, the Nightmare dungeons actually got way more difficult, and they drop back down to the Champion's Demise. So this specific dungeon was, I would say, 70% of the overall leveling process, and has been absolutely amazing method to reach higher levels. So if you guys are interested in climbing, and it's something that I've been doing recently, you want to dive into this dungeon, at least with a party of 3. You can do it with a party of 4, but I've noticed that party of 3 is going to be the best method because there are 3 pathways, and you're going to head over here, run into this area, and what you'll notice is you'll have one pathway down on the bottom right, another pathway on the bottom left, and another pathway on the top left. And what was basically happening is each person in that party was getting a path, and then you would all go ahead and farm your lane. Ideally, you'd finish at the same time, and then after that, you guys would just reset the dungeon and go again. And this is the best way to get XP as far as I've seen. It is literally the best way. This is part of the method on how Rob got to 100 as quick as possible. So if you guys are interested in kind of getting some massive XP as quick as possible, this is the way. And if you guys are still tracking, that race to 100, then I definitely check out Woody Joe's at level 86. He is clearly in the lead, which again, I don't think is any real surprise, which is super, super exciting. We also have a couple of really cool people on the list that I never really expected to see, like Shroud. He's playing in a group, Karn, Ben, where Zizarin, Steel Mage, I believe those four are a group. I think it's Karn, again, Steel Mage, and Zizarin, some PoE experts, and a couple other people that are higher up on the list. What's interesting is the hardcore is way lower than the softcore. I didn't expect the disparity to be this high, but I think what's interesting also is there is a much higher top end compared to softcore, because to be honest, yes, like some people, it drops off quite significantly, and that's mainly because if you're not playing in a group, you're gonna hurt a lot. And that's something that I realized, is that I've actually been grinding almost a similar amount of time than Rob, but his efficiency was way higher than mine because of that permanent group play. So when we talked about how group play is going to be very strong, it really matters when you reach World Tier 4. As soon as you hit World Tier 4, that's when you start to see the group play just blasting through the game, and that's exactly what happened. And that's why a lot of people are actually keeping up with Woody Joe, because they're playing in a group and he's playing solo. So other than that, guys, let me know what you think about this in the comment section down below. It's super exciting. I think it's super cool. And I'm excited for season 1, which I think I'm going to take a lot more seriously. And I think a lot of people are waiting for that season 1 with the actual sort of even playing field. Everyone's got the same amount of knowledge. And I'm excited to see who's going to get first 100 on the official season start for Diablo 4. Thanks for watching. See you for the next one.